All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Aabir Lahiry, and joining me today in conversation is Professor Chintamani Mahapatra. We'll be talking about how Donald Trump has been convicted in 34 felony cases. अभी की खबर आई है कि डोनाल्ड ट्रंप को अब बहुत सारे केसेस में मतलब 34 केसेस हैं, फेलिनी केसेस हैं, कैसे बिजनेस रिकॉर्ड्स को मैनिपुलेट किया गया है, उसके लिए ही हैज बीन कन्विक्टेड. अब वो कितने टाइम के लिए जेल जाते हैं या पेनल्टी देते हैं, जो भी होता है वो पता करेंगे. एंड दिस इज अबाउट हश मनी ट्रायल. Professor Mahapatra, what exactly is the entire scene? Firstly, welcome to ABP Live Podcast.
Thank
what
you.
exactly is the entire case?
In 2006, Donald Trump had a relationship, to be more specific, sexual relationship with a lady called Stormy Daniels. And Stormy Daniels apparently was about to reveal that relationship at the time of 2016 election in the US. But to stop her from saying so, a certain amount of money, not a small amount, $130,000 was paid to her by one of the lawyers of Donald Trump called Michael Cohen. And later, Michael Cohen was reimbursed that amount from the Donald Trump's account. And there was a case where it was mentioned that it was legal cost. But in reality, it was not legal cost, and that was the case. And in this trial, which went on for quite a few weeks, finally, Donald Trump was convicted. And it was a unanimous decision by almost 14 jury. Now, the big question is whether he can continue to be a candidate for the upcoming election in November. As per the American law, he can continue because there is no federal law which says that a convicted felony could not contest for the presidential post. The second question that comes is, suppose he goes to jail. Can he still campaign? Again, the law is silent and he can continue to campaign. The third critical question comes, suppose he wins the election. Can he run the presidency from the jail? That is a big question. Now, can an elected president be kept in the jail? All former American presidents are given security guards, top-class security. So if Donald Trump goes to jail, whether all those top security officials, the bodyguards, will be with him or not in the jail is another critical question. Now, can he sign all the papers? Can he run the administration from jail? No. Then the law is silent. This is for the first time in American history such a thing is happening. Never before. So because the law is silent, ultimately the issues are going to land up in the American Supreme Court and they will decide what can be done. But there are people who are interpreting that if Donald Trump wins the election, can he pardon himself? And if he pardons himself, he'll be returning to the White House, sitting in the same Oval Office and acting as the American president. But the question remains, is self-pardoning allowed under American law? American law is silent on that because never before such an issue came. So again, the Supreme Court will decide whether a president who was convicted earlier can be now in a position to pardon himself. So this particular case, is creating a lot of legal problems. And of course, there are moral issues, how people are going to respond when they go to the booths to cast their ballot. Are they thinking in terms of morality, ethics, and all that? Or they are thinking in terms of what a Donald Trump administration can bring for them? So these are the questions which are really bothering people in the US and outside the US.
Okay. Professor Mahapatra, my next question to you is paying hush money actually illegal? Because what kind of research, whatever research I did on my own, it says that it is actually not illegal to give somebody hush money with the NDA, non-disclosure agreement. But the reason Donald Trump is charged and convicted is not just because of the hush money, is because he was fabricating evidence in business records, and that is the sole reason he has been he has been convicted in this case.
Exactly, you are right. Paying hush money is not illegal under American law, and he was convicted because he fiddled with the documents and he misrepresented the cost of paying the hush money to somebody. He cheated the entire system, and that is why he committed a crime, and this is a criminal act. That is why he was convicted. But for ordinary people, during the trial, they came to know the vivid details of his relationship with a lady, that too a porn star. So how people are going to react, particularly the independent voters, is to be seen. The Republican voters and his base, of course, is supporting him, and they still believe that whatever Donald Trump says that he's innocent, he could be innocent, and that is why it's difficult to say what is going to happen
Okay.
in the voting.
A lot of conversations, a lot of Chinese whisper is around the fact that maybe the opposition has planted this in on Donald Trump. How do you react to that? Do you see a potential there, or it is just like a random statement?
The American system is certainly not 100% great. There are problems everywhere. And law itself, the written law cannot do anything. It can be interpreted, it can be misinterpreted, it can be misrepresented, and people can use it, abuse it, misuse it. Having said that, the American system, which is centuries old, is in a way better than many other systems around the world. Now, the question is, if a person like Donald Trump, with such a strong political base, with a credential of being the president of the United States for 4 years, if he was convicted in a court of law, it is not easy for the opposition party to really cook things up and fix things up against him. So I don't think that there was an opposition there and the opposition party did that for him. There was a lot of conspiracy. These are the allegations that Donald Trump is making for a long time. Ever since he lost the election, he has been saying the election was rigged, and he was blaming the system. Then he was blaming Joe Biden. This is part of the political game. Anybody in that position would say so. But for outsiders, reading too much into this conspiracy theory probably is not appropriate.
Okay. One more thing. You are a professor. You teach people on international affairs, on international politics, geopolitics. Has this kind of approach, or rather, has this kind of a case been detected anywhere else in the world in the history, where an acting president can actually work out of jail?
Whether an acting president walks out of jail, it's very difficult to find out. But we know very well that there are cases where the sitting presidents were involved in smuggling of goods in Latin America. And we know that there are many, many presidents who are dictatorial in their attitude and they commit a lot of crime. But those crimes are covered up, or those crimes have undergone, have not undergone any kind of punishment. So there are countries which are having tin pot dictators. There are totalitarian systems. There are different kind of military dictatorship. All kinds of crimes have been committed, and still they continue to rule over. And we all know what's happening in Myanmar, for example. And there are several cases in African countries, earlier in Latin America. So exactly the Donald Trump type of case cannot be compared, because I don't think in any other mature democracy such a thing has ever happened. Even in the United States, it has never happened.
Okay. On that note, I guess very, very thank you for having this conversation and to bust a lot of myths and what exactly and decoding the entire case for us. Let's see whether Donald Trump gets a penalty or he stays in jail. If he wins the presidential election, will his office function out of a prison? That is also a question which Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is trying to find the answer to. Thank you very much, Professor Mahapatra, for joining me in this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lahiri. Thank you.